Good afternoon, and welcome to the 9th Annual State of Small Business in Chatham County Symposium. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we were not able to present this event during Small Business Week back in May. However, in light of the significant changes and challenges that the pandemic has caused in our economy over the last 20 months, it may be even more important and timely that we virtually bring you the update today. My name is Jess Belfry, and I am the chair of Savannah SCORE, and we are the nation's largest provider of free business mentoring services to the small business community. Today, we're excited to once again be co-presenting this event with our very generous partners, Wells Fargo. Each year, we invite our experts to present local business trends that will help small businesses make informed decisions on the growth of their companies and to capitalize on emerging opportunities. This year, we have an outstanding speaker audience with us, and each speaker is going to talk about different aspects of our local economy, as well as the key business trends that are impacting our business community. I'm sure you're going to find the information very valuable. We encourage you to submit questions to our presenters in the comment section below, and we will do our best throughout the program to answer as many as we can. We would also like to remind you that we are 100% online, and as we all have known throughout the season of COVID, the internet can sometimes be unstable, and so if you lose your connection with us, please stand by and we will be back with you shortly. I'd like to take a moment to recognize and thank our presenting sponsor, Wells Fargo. For many years, Wells Fargo has been an amazing partner helping local small businesses thrive and generously supporting this event. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Ms. Sherry Butler, Wells Fargo District Manager, Savannah Coastal. Welcome, Sherry.
Thank you very much, Jess. Small businesses are the heartbeat of our communities. They pump life into our neighborhoods, making them vibrant places to live, work, and raise our families. And they are key to millions of local jobs. COVID-19 continues to create unprecedented economic challenges for our small business customers and our region. As a company, we're focused on fostering an inclusive recovery from COVID-19 and strengthening the small business sector for the long term. Our goal is to help as many small businesses as we can. During this time, Wells Fargo has stepped forward to provide critical financial support to millions of Americans and to infuse relief into thousands of communities. Over the past 2 years, Wells Fargo played a huge role in the PPP program and helped hundreds of thousands of small businesses to get resources they need to keep their doors open, their employees paid, and their customers' needs met. We served more than 282,000 customers with PPP loans with nearly $14 billion in needed liquidity, representing more than 1.7 million jobs. Since the beginning of the pandemic, Wells Fargo has remained committed to helping as many small businesses as possible, serving those hardest hit by the current environment. Racially and ethnically diverse owned businesses have been disparately impacted the pandemic compared to other small businesses. Therefore, our efforts and programs have mainly focused on supporting these underserved entrepreneurs as a priority. Wells Fargo committed to donating all gross processing fees from the PPP program during 2020 and created a roughly about $420 million small business recovery effort called the Open for Business Fund. The Open for Business Fund focuses on small businesses hardest hit by COVID-19, including Black, African American, Hispanic, Asian, Native American women, and many others. Beyond providing much needed capital, the Open for Business Fund also empowers small businesses with technical assistance and long-term resiliency programs. Wells Fargo works with nonprofits to build an ecosystem of support for small businesses, no matter where they are on their journey, so that they can recover and continue to provide vital jobs in the local communities. We here at Wells Fargo, we really look forward to our commitment and supporting small businesses. Thanks, Jess.
It was great to see you, Sherry, and thank you again so much to you and Wells Fargo for your continued support to our small business community.
Absolutely.
Next, I would like to thank the following small business ambassadors for helping to promote this event and for their support of all of the small businesses within our community. The University of Georgia Small Business Development Center, the City of Savannah and its Entrepreneurial Center, the Greater Savannah Black Chamber of Commerce, Carriage Trade Public Relations Incorporated, Joe Marchese Construction. To all of the small business owners who have tuned in today, we know that it has been a really difficult year, but stay strong, stay focused, and don't give up. Remember that you are the backbone of this economy and that you are not alone. We are all in this together, and together we will win. We now have a 1-minute PSA from our sponsor, Wells Fargo. It is now my honor to welcome the Honorable Van Johnson, Mayor of Savannah, to make some opening remarks to our small business community. It's so great to see you today, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Jess, and I appreciate it. I was hoping we were going to join each other for lunch, but I'll let you know this year. Thank you so much. Always, Marjorie, Sherry, thank you, and Wells Fargo for your amazing support, and to all of you. As many of you know, we found ourselves in a very interesting time, particularly over the last couple of days. Thursday was Thanksgiving, the time that we give thanks. Sunday was the beginning of Advent, which is the Christmas season. And of course, Sunday evening was the beginning of Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights. And I think that I liken that, that collision of what has occurred in our calendar to what our lives have been like. I am so grateful to be the mayor of a city with such resilient small businesses. The fact of the matter is, and it's absolutely true, is that when big businesses had their hardest times, small businesses found a way to keep it going. I don't know how you did it, but you found ways to tap into creativity, found a way to tap into strength that you did not know that you had. And as a result, Savannah has roared back. Our economy has roared back. And I'm talking with mayors across the country who have not found a way to be able to get their economies back up because they don't have the small business infrastructure that Savannah has. So I am so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for what you have contributed to this. We are now looking at some of our businesses this year, 2021, in the middle of a pandemic, having their best days ever. And that speaks again to the resiliency. We look at our hotels that are over 90% full. We look at our restaurants. I mean, we have people who are ready to do things, and we don't have enough people to work. And so I won't say anything about that. We'll let our experts deal with that. So I'm thankful for that. But then we look at Advent and we look at what that means, expectation. And so I'm hoping, and my expectation is that you learn skills that will help you to be even more resilient in the coming year, particularly as we rebound, particularly as we emerge from this. And we could do it. And then finally, of course, Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights, and how many of us found ways to work together, that my light combined with your light lit up the whole block. and many small businesses lit up their whole block in terms of the things that they were doing by staying open. And I appreciate you so much for being able to do that. So for all of us, I'm just looking forward to the time that we're going to be able to really be at full strength in our new reality. Now, we do have challenges. I mean, everybody's not rebounding as quick. People still have challenges. We still have a large number of Black and brown businesses that closed. And we have to find ways to create better access to capital. We have to find ways for better resources. But I'm telling you, as the mayor of this city, Savannah will be in the middle of that, standing side by side with you, working with you, because we recognize Savannah does not do well unless you do well. So again, thank you for being who you are. I am, again, so grateful for you, so grateful for what you mean to our city. And again, y'all are rock stars. Y'all made it happen. And we're going to continue doing that together. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much, Jess.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and it's great to see you today. I know you have a very busy schedule, and we're happy that you can join us. You have such an unwavering support of our small business community, and we really appreciate that.
Thank you. We're in this together.
Well, now it's time to start the presentations. Now I'd like to introduce our moderators, Joe Marchese, founder of Marchese Construction, and Marjorie Young, founder of Carriage Trade Public Relations. 9 years ago, Joe and Marjorie founded and launched the first state of small business in Chatham County to help small businesses get a closer look to what is happening in Chatham County within the small business community. Please welcome Joe Marchese and Marjorie Young.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you, and congratulations on being the chair of SCORE. That's a huge position.
Thank you.
It's a much needed service. Every small business owner listening, please check out SCORE. They are mentors to small business, and it's all free. So we're very grateful for your service to our community. It is absolutely what helps move the needle and keep making our wonderful city so wonderful. So thank you, Jess.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks. So if you haven't taken advantage of SCORE, please, do so. There's just a wealth of knowledge. There are, without belaying the age of the people, there are decades of knowledge that are available to you.
Watch it.
Well, I've got 5+ decades myself. But anyway, we're very excited to see all of you online today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to attend. We also want to have a heartfelt thanks to the speakers. They took a lot of time to put their presentations together and to collect their reports. So we are very thankful for all of you. Today, we have a panel of experts that will give you information that will allow you to make small business decisions for the growth of your company. Each presenter will have 3 minutes to give their presentation. But today is all about you, the small business. It's about how the local economy is affecting your business. And we hope that these presenters will give you the insight to decide whether you need to buy that next B650 or perhaps maybe just an F-150. But we're excited that you're here. And if you have any questions, please post them in the comment section below.
So before we get going, I just want to remind everybody that this presentation will then run on the government channel, on channel 8, starting next week. And you can also refer back to it on the SCORE channel, on the Facebook channel. So we've got a lot of really interesting information coming up. I've seen the reports. The reports are going to be available at the SCORE website. So here we go.
All right, so we are ready for the 2020 State of Small Business in Chatham County to begin. So for our first speaker, it is my honor to introduce Dr. Michael Toma, the professor of economics at Georgia Southern University. Dr. Toma?
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate the invitation to return and share a few thoughts about the regional economy and more specifically small business in Chatham County. So I'd like to first start by setting the economic stage. That's not a surprise to many small business owners and operators here in the regional economy and also in Chatham County. But there's been some interesting fundamental changes in the structure of the county economy and our regional economy in the last 12 to 18 months. First off, the total employment in the region and in Chatham County has effectively recovered to its pre-pandemic levels. But there has been some difficulties in sectors that typically host a lot of small businesses, particularly in retail trade, in the leisure and hospitality sector, in financial services, and other services. Those four sectors combined to date are still down by about 4,600 jobs. But there has been substantial growth in logistics, the logistics industry here in town, employment, and also in business and professional services. So those 4,600 jobs that were lost in those other four sectors that I mentioned, those have been more than replaced by the 5,600 new jobs that have been created in the logistics sector and in business and professional services. So that sets basically the fundamental stage in what the pandemic has done to our regional economy. We are bounced back. Chatham County's economy has bounced back, but the structure of that economy is a little bit different. So now turning a little bit more closely to small businesses, and the way I'm looking at small business data here is probably more attuned to what you typically would think of when you hear the phrase small business. For the statistics that I'm reporting, I've chosen to cut that off at businesses that have fewer than 50 employees, 50 or fewer employees. The federal government defines small businesses as anything less than about 500 workers or 250 under other circumstances. But generally, I think most of us, when we hear small business, we're thinking of smaller businesses, perhaps less than 50. And anyway, with that definition in mind, I would like to echo the mayor's statement that small businesses have been particularly resistant to the pandemic in Chatham County. While larger businesses lost 12% of their employment, small businesses only lost about 8.5%. So that's resilient. There were fewer job losses among smaller businesses than larger businesses. Secondly, the mayor said the Chatham County's economy and Savannah's economy have roared back, and that's been absolutely true for smaller businesses as well in Chatham County. As a matter of fact, their employment base of about 60,000 workers now at businesses with fewer than 50 employees, that's almost 1.5% higher, 1.5% higher as compared to the pre-pandemic level. And bear in mind, so that's growth in that small business sector as compared to the county and the regional economy that has pretty much just barely made it back to where it was pre-pandemic. So those 60,000 workers in businesses that have fewer than 50 workers, that represents a significant increase, 1.3%, almost 1.5% higher than pre-pandemic. And those small businesses of less than 50 workers now comprises 94% of all businesses in Chatham County. So there's been a pretty significant rise. I mean, you just think about what happened. The sectors that typically house small businesses, those, again, retail trade, leisure, hospitality, financial services, other services, those sectors lost 4,600 jobs. But there has been substantial re-engagement. That entrepreneurial ability came back, roaring back. The innovative nature, how do I pivot my business or try a new business model to re-engage in this economy that has been, structurally, adjusted, changed by the pandemic. So there's been significant re-engagement. I think a lot of the small business activity in those four sectors that were substantially undermined by the pandemic have popped up and re-emerged to support the regional and Chatham County's logistics sector, and also in particular business and professional services, which is a very wide range of economic activity that really captures, in a very broad sense, how these small businesses have found a way to re-engage in the county economy. Just peeling back a little bit, one more layer, the third major point that I'd like to make is that among businesses that have between 20 and 49 workers, there's been 17% growth from the bottom, basically Q2 of 2020, when things were really pretty miserable and awful, to the second quarter of 2021. 17% employment growth in that sector that outpaced total employment growth in small businesses of about 11% over that same time. So that's almost 50% higher in terms of growth in firms that have between 20 and 49 workers, which is really a pretty substantial achievement when you also consider that businesses that may have had, say, 45 or 48 employees, when they grow, they move out of that business class into the next larger size, 50 or more employees. So these businesses that have between 20 and 49 workers have really experienced substantial growth over the last 12 months. There has been growth elsewhere. In the firms that have between 10 and 19 workers, about 8% growth. So that's pretty substantial. And even in the smaller businesses that have less than 10 employees, there's been a 6% increase in the number of businesses that fall into that category, and their employment base is up by about 5%. And those numbers understandably would be a little bit lower at the smaller end of the scale, because again, remember, as the businesses grow, they move into the next size category up. So what we're seeing is pretty strong, resilient entrepreneurial ability, finding a way to re-engage in the county economy in what was a very, very difficult year. So congratulations to small business owners. As the mayor said, he must be reading my script. So substantial roaring back growth and very resilient businesses. Congratulations.
Wow, that's really encouraging, Dr. Toma. Very encouraging.
Yeah, it's surprising what a large percentage, 94% of the businesses are small businesses, as defined by Dr. Toma today, of 50 people and under, which, we are the backbone of the economy. So thank you so much, sir, that your information is always just right on point. Thank you.
Welcome.
Very good. Well, thank you. Okay. So we're going to, everyone stick around and you can ask questions. If you have a question, put it in the chat area and we've got Dr. Toma on screen right now live if you have any questions. If not, we will do it again at the very end of the program. So very good. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Toma. Next, we have Charles Bowen. He is a corporate entertainment attorney at the Bowen Law Group. Please welcome Bo Bowen. You got it? Where's Bo? Bo? There we go. Hey, Bo.
Hey, Marjorie. Thank you.
Gosh, I know the last time you were on with State of Small Business last year, it was pretty bleak.
Right.
Very bleak.
Sure.
Please give us some good news here.
Well, if you want to know about the current state of the entertainment industry in Savannah, really, all you need to do is go watch the movie Rocky IV, because the film and television industry got knocked down hard, but it is definitely fighting back strong, hopefully on its way to total victory. So if you go back 2 years to 2019, that marked the entertainment industry's 7th straight year of multi-million-dollar growth.
I have one of your screens here, right there.
Right. So for perspective, if you go back to 2013, the total money spent that year on film and television production in the Savannah area was $14.7 million. But by 2019, thanks to the efforts of many people and organizations committed to growing the industry locally, that number had grown to $125.6 million in direct spending, with a total economic impact of well over $266 million. 2019 was by far the best year Savannah had ever seen for film and television production. The year was actually capped off by Movie Maker magazine naming Savannah the best small city in America to live and work as a filmmaker. Well, the first 2 months of 2020 actually started out on a pace to eclipse 2019. But then the pandemic hit and decimated the industry, not just in Savannah, but worldwide. COVID-19 shuttered film and television productions, movie theaters, playhouses, really every corner of the entertainment industry. And the local economic impact of the industry fell from $266 million in 2019 to just $45 million in 2020. But like Rocky rising from the canvas, the industry is starting to rebound tremendously. the first thing that happened was a set of industry-wide safety protocols was developed that allowed filming to safely resume. Production at this point in Savannah is back to well over 90% of pre-pandemic levels. And even better, there are two very realistic local movie studio projects currently in development in Savannah that may soon add much needed infrastructure locally that could greatly increase Savannah's capacity to host major film and television productions. So finally, I would just want to note that the huge demand for new film and television shows while people were quarantining at home, as a result of that, production companies have already released almost all of the new content that they had completed prior to the pandemic. Well, that means that the demand for new content is higher than it has ever been in history. And if you add all those factors together, the ingredients are there for a comeback of epic proportions. So while the final numbers for 2021 are not in yet, I think it's very safe to say that it will probably be lower than 2019, but only slightly so. And it will definitely be far better than 2020. I think the most important takeaway is that the future of the Savannah entertainment industry is actually brighter than it has ever been. And, that is good news for the many, many small businesses that have learned how to, provide services to the entertainment industry. All indications at this point is that a new pattern of rapid growth has already begun and will continue up through 2021 and 2022. Thanks.
Wow, that's really, really powerful, good news, Bo. And so if a small business owner is watching, how could they use this information to, what kind of businesses do you expect that could spin off and start because of this really important information?
Well, not only are there, is there opportunity for new businesses, but I think most importantly for our purposes is that there are so many areas of existing businesses that can support the entertainment industry because, when a production comes to town, they have all the needs of an entire city, basically. They need dry cleaners, they need drivers, they need insurance, they need everything you can think of. So one way that I would encourage local small businesses to take advantage of that is to go to the Savannah Regional Film Commission's website and register with them as to support the film industry, because that is when productions come to town. That is where they go to find the services that they need. So definitely register with the Savannah Regional Film Commission. It's filmsavannah.org. And then you will be very well positioned to help take advantage of this growth.
So we have a question. What will the impact of the new soundstage be?
Well, provided that one or both of these projects moves forward to completion, the biggest impact will be that it's going. Right now, when productions come to Savannah, they can only film on location. Atlanta has over 60 sound stages and Savannah has 0. Well, this will change that. That means that productions can come in, film on a stage, set up, and be and leave things there. It's going to greatly increase the type of productions that we can host here in Savannah. So we're looking at, tremendous growth when we have that infrastructure in place.
And we have another question from Carmel Hearn. What is the most needed infrastructure for the Savannah film industry?
Well, it's definitely sound stages. So, but that has been the case for many years now, and so the fact that there are two very realistic projects, in development is extremely exciting. I think that, when you have not only the Georgia state incentives, you have the Savannah local incentives, and then you can actually provide a sound stage or two on top of that. Savannah will be in a position where it can literally almost pick and choose the projects it wants to bring to town at that point.
So we've got one more question. When will we begin to see the impact of the upcoming SCAD lot?
Well, what the SCAD lot is I think you're already starting to see the impact of it in terms of growth, but it's not a stage so much as it is areas where, you're looking to train future filmmakers and people involved in the industry. They're doing a lot of special effects, a lot of virtual reality projects, that type of thing. But it is more of an educational type facility than it is facilities for productions that are coming in. Now, there's some of that for certain, but the way that it is going to be training these future people involved in the industry is the most exciting when it comes to SCAD.
Well, Bo, again, thank you for a very insightful look at the film industry. I love that things are coming up roses for us. I mean, we're the most beautiful city in the world, so why wouldn't it be happening, right?
Looking good. Absolutely.
Looking good. Bo, thank you very much. We have Bo's report. It will also be included in the booklet, which will be available on the SCORE Facebook page. Thank you, Bo, very much.
Thank you, Marjorie.
So since the future is so bright, I am going to wear shades.
Well, that was a good transition. Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Hey, that is a phenomenal thing. And, don't forget, you can go and register locations at filmsavannah.org if you have an old house or you have a unique location. They're always looking for places to shoot that are geographically, adjacent to when they're working in the city. So, say you're a seamstress and you just have a bunch of clothing and costumes. You never know where you're going to fit into that puzzle. So just explore it. Small businesses are resilient, and you never know. You could be the next set dresser at a major production. So right now, I want to introduce Becky Brownlee. Becky is the area director for the University of Georgia Small Business Development Center. And unfortunately, Becky could not be with us in virtual person, but she did create this excellent video, and we'll go to that now.
I'm Becky Brownlee, and I'm here to share some data from the 2021 Small Business Credit Survey Partner Report from the University of Georgia Small Business Development Center. This survey was fielded in September and October of 2021, and it compares their revenue, employment, and other changes over the prior 12 months. You can see that over 60% reported decreased revenue, with roughly 25% reporting increased revenue, and 10% of our businesses saying there was no change in revenue. When we take a look at employment versus the previous 12 months, almost 50% reported decreased employment, with roughly 20% reporting increased employment, and almost 35% reporting no change. Taking a look at the challenges, overwhelmingly, businesses reported changes in demand for products and services, government mandates, not just for their businesses, but for their clients' businesses, having to adapt to health and safety guidelines, worker availability, and supply chain disruption. We take a look at how these businesses address the financial challenges. Over 55% used personal funds, close to 45% cut staff hours, downsized operations. A little bit over 30% obtained funds through grants, crowdfunding. 38% took out debt. 33% roughly made a late payment or did not pay. Roughly 7% with other action, and about 5% with no action whatsoever. If we look ahead, over 25% of these businesses are reporting they expect their revenue will decrease. The bright spot is that 60% are saying that their revenue will increase, and roughly 18% report that revenue will not change in the upcoming 12 months. This is the report for 2021. The new report will be coming out in April of 2022, and we'll have those numbers available for you at that time.
Very good. I wish Becky was here. 65% are expecting their revenue to increase. That's positive.
Yeah.
Her soundbite was the data from the survey, which showed that the pandemic did have a negative effect on most small businesses in one way or another. But our small businesses are resilient and even optimistic about the future. And of course, they work like SCORE with hundreds, if not thousands, of area small businesses.
Yeah, and it's telling that she said that 30% of the small businesses invested their own personal funds back into the business. So that's a sign of optimism, you know, that you understand that this was a pothole, it was a detour, but you reinvested in order to continue. So that's excellent news.
So Michael Siegel has a question. What businesses were included in the survey? We're going to have to ask Becky, unless you have.
Yeah, so those were the SBDCs. They had polled small businesses. So we can get together, we can ask Becky that and be able to answer that. Very good.
All right. Next up, we have Moncello Stewart. He is the president of the Greater Savannah Black Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, Moncello. We're so glad that you could participate in the State of Small Business.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. Thank you all so much for this platform as we talk about small business in Savannah, and in small businesses is so important. I am Moncello Stewart. I'm the president for the Greater Savannah Black Chamber, where we serve as the leading advocate for our members in the Black business community in the Savannah area. Our mission is to power and educate African American businesses, other minorities, and women-owned businesses in the Savannah metropolitan area. And we do this through many programs that we participate in and put on through the chamber. Our chamber's grown. Our chamber, we have a little over 220 businesses that's a part of our chamber here. But we also know that there's around 500 known registered African-American businesses here in the city of Savannah. The thing about that we noticed that a lot of those businesses joined this year. So I mean, we had a lot of businesses opening this year. So when several people talked earlier about Savannah being resilient, the African-American community and the small businesses were really resilient themselves as far as opening up new businesses in 2021 in the midst of a pandemic. So what does that mean? That means that we're finding opportunities. We found that people took time during COVID when things kind of slowed down and calm to actually really think about different ways to address the needs of finances for their families and communities by opening businesses. And we're very excited about that. But still, we still have challenges, and to develop a platform so that we can answer to those challenges, we have to create a movement. And our challenges are still the same, some of the same challenges that our business has been having for years. And first is access to capital. It's very important that our businesses understand and be ready so that we can get access to capital so that we can continue to have more businesses there. Connecting to government resources. That's a very big thing. As you know, when the pandemic hit, with so many loans and grants opportunities out there that some of our businesses did not get a chance to participate in or see because maybe just not having that connection there. And that's why we're here to really kind of bridge that gap and to become better, learning the needs of those businesses. We're still having a challenge of rebuilding after the pandemic. It was a nationwide survey that said, you know, over 41% of Black businesses lost ownership during the pandemic, where we're safe to say that we didn't have those numbers in Savannah, where it was only around 20%. So Savannah has really been really resilient, and we're really excited about that. But if you look at that 41% as it relates to white businesses, there was a very different decline. It was 17% on that level. So we see if you look at the task force that Honorable Mayor Johnson had with the equity task force, we could see some equity issues there that we would definitely want to address. So to address those things, we would like to get more involved and create this movement. And one of those movements is really simple. Shop Black. You know, it's not we're you know, we have so many options to shop, and we encourage some people to kind of check out some businesses that they haven't checked out before. Go visit some businesses that you not have traditionally been to before. You know, it's so many tourist things here in Savannah, but go check out one of our walking tours. We have so many out there that's there. We go check out Day Clean Journeys. If you want a bank, try Carver State Bank, because they're doing a lot of stuff in our community and they can use to help. You want a Christmas gift, you know, try to get a patch from Zalonia with patches. You know, we have LB that's about to open a coffee shop soon. We have our business of the year, which is Good Times downtown. Is a great place to listen to some jazz music and get some food there. So we're really excited about our businesses, but we definitely know that we have to be more strategic and we have to be more aggressive about resources for our businesses. One of the things that we notice that we do not have a lot of businesses in the downtown area, and we all know that, and that's something that we want to help because we know it's money downtown, and we would love to give our businesses opportunity to be down there. But until then, coming up with a program and resources to have a area that folks can go from not just downtown, but in other sides of Savannah and South Side Savannah, where a lot of our businesses are at, so that we can support those businesses there as well. So I'm excited about what we are able to do. I'm excited about the growth of the chamber. I'm excited about small business in Savannah in general. And I really think that we're moving in the right direction. But, Black business is everybody's business. And we look forward and hoping that the community can support these initiatives.
Moncello, that was really wonderful, a wonderful report. And I'm so grateful for your leadership. I mean, look, I want to just bring this chart back up here. It says, Savannah listed as a top city for the most successful Black-owned businesses. That's huge.
Right, that's right. We got several businesses. If you think about that, the Gray Restaurant, we got so many Hollis above and beyond. We got so many businesses that's doing really well here, and we just really appreciate that.
Yeah. So, Moncello, how can other small businesses help out the Black businesses with access to capital? If we bank a little bit at Carver Bank, would that help? Or
banking thing. I think so. Coming in with a network of how to support each other, and this is no knock to. I shop downtown. I shop everywhere. I shop with everyone business, but I do also know that the average person do not have to walk into a Black business to go shop. They don't have to walk into a Black restaurant. Their tradition goes to the same thing. So we get people out of the mindset to say, let's try something different. Let's spend time in the places that we're not used to spending time with. I think it would benefit all of Savannah. Because if the Black businesses are doing better and those families are doing better, the families are doing better, and I could provide a better education for my child. If my child is doing better, then that relates to crime and other issues right there. So it's a cycle that we're trying to break here, and I think just supporting each other will go a long way.
Excellent.
Very much so. Very much so. How much does SCORE and the Black Chamber work together? I think you guys have a partnership.
We got a great relationship. Jess, thank you so much for the support. Michael, I know he's on. Dave, we got a great partnership. They work well with us. We will definitely recommend SCORE all day long for mentorship and help. We've got a series that we did last year that was really well received, and we're looking forward to doing one again next year. And so every time a SCORE calls, we're there to answer, and I'm sure every time that we ask them, they're there to answer. So we love SCORE, and I think things like that, creating partnerships and relationships like that, will just do nothing good for it'll just help the community more.
Great.
Moncello, you're my favorite. So thank you so much. I know our partnership has really gained some strength and momentum, and I look forward to going into the new year with you and your partnership. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Marjorie and Joe.
A number of years ago, I think it was Inc. magazine said that Savannah is one of the top places for small businesses to open and operate. And can't you see why? The synergy and the connection between everybody is just, we're all in this together, and we all work together, communicate together, and it moves the needle. And then that's why Savannah's just off the charts wonderful. So absolutely. So
yeah, and that's how this whole State of Small Business just came about. Marjorie and I saw a need that wasn't being met. 80% of small business in the United States, is small business. And so, that's how this got its start. And, the two of us would be very happy to share your vision and your mission with everyone that we know. So,
and I think, again, Marjorie have already reached out a few times. This is not the first time that we've been connecting. And I appreciate that, because that shows that people are taking this serious, and that we're creating relationships and partnerships. And that starts right now. And Marjorie, I really do appreciate that.
I appreciate it. We're all living in Savannah, and we're doing the best we can do to make it the best place ever. So absolutely. And I hope you come back next year for the 10th annual. Hopefully we'll be able to do it in person, not holding my breath with this Omicron. Well, anyhow, but
we'll figure it out.
Yeah. And I like to get Alfonso involved with the Hispanic Chamber. So I know his schedule was super busy this year, but we'll definitely get him involved next year, and hopefully in person. So thank you so much for taking your time and sending that wonderful report, which will be up on the SCORE website. And I am getting it to the media. So
Thank you.
Moncello, thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Good to see you, Moncello. And I want to thank all of our first presenters. What a great, positive, exciting, like, here we go, 2022. It's an exciting thing. And thank you, Joe and Marjorie, for putting on this great symposium. It's hard to believe that it's already been 9 years and we're going into our 10th year. As a SCORE, representative, I know I speak on behalf of my whole team that we're so appreciative of you guys and the community that supports us. And for those of you that are, watching and are unfamiliar with SCORE, we've put together a 30-second PSA for you guys to learn a little bit more about who we are and what we do behind the scenes.
Small businesses are the heart of our community. That's why at Savannah SCORE, our goal is to provide free business mentoring services to help entrepreneurs start and grow their businesses. To meet this goal, we need a diverse group of experienced local business professionals like you to volunteer as mentors. With SCORE, you're more than just a mentor. You're part of our volunteer team helping our diverse small business community succeed, rewarding, inspiring, connecting. Become a SCORE mentor today. Apply at savannah.score.org.
All right, now we're moving on, and I want to welcome our next round of presenters. And for those of you who are just tuning in, I know Zelonia, hey girl, and Victoria, thanks for joining us. I want to thank you all for participating in today's discussion and viewing this really important event.
Absolutely. And I remember 9 years ago, our next presenter was one of our first presenters, Rhett Mouchet. He is an associate broker with Collier's International. Hey, Rhett.
Hey, Marjorie.
You're up. You're up.
All right. Thank you, Marjorie and Jess and Joe. It's an honor once again to be placed among these terrific professionals and listen to the experts speak about their industries and our Savannah market. I always use their insight throughout the coming year to help me spread the good news about Savannah to clients and prospects and to everyone. My Savannah commercial real estate market report, and it's going to include industrial in there. The real estate market is great. Many of you know that. And there's a real push to get deals closed this year under the current tax regime. So be easy on your attorney friends. We used to envy Atlanta, Charlotte, Greenville because of their growth corridors. Now we have our own, and the growth is happening. Start with industrial. Our industrial growth is absolutely the number one. The land grab has been occurring over the last year and continues even stronger now. We're now in the surrounding counties, especially the I-16 corridor going up into North Bryan County. Multifamily, number two. Strong growth, primarily on the west side, spurred on by the growth of the Georgia port, along with the Savannah growing economy. Vacancy is decreasing, and again, the land grab is on. Retail is number three. Vacancy is decreased to below our 10-year average. And our office market. I've got office market as number 50. Just kidding. It's probably not 50. It's probably 48. But nothing has happened in our office sector really for over a decade. But we've got our hopes out for that. Let's look at the stats now. The stats, industrial. We have over 20 million square feet under construction right now. And we have only a 1.3% vacancy. 1.3% of over 80 million square feet. And this is a report that was done by our local Collier's office, David Sink and Hillary Shipley, and they researched our market a lot. 1.3% is really nothing. So it gives you a little overview of the industrial market. Our multifamily, we had over 1,300 units delivered during this past year. And before that, a year ago, we had about a 9%, 10% vacancy. And now we have, around a 5% vacancy with all those units being delivered. And we have more on the way. Retail, the vacancy rate is improving. We had 147,000 square feet delivered this past year, and we had 304,000 square feet that was absorbed in our retail sector, and we had COVID to deal with. So as we previously said, Savannah has been spared a lot of the heartache that's happened over the other part of the country. All right, what's going on for 2022? The Savannah Arena, in-market arena, and I referred to it last year, but it's there now, folks, and it's going to create a growth environment that should spur mixed-use growth really within the Canal District. I can't wait to see the Eagles in February, by the way, at the arena. Our industrial growth, we have 20 million under construction, and we have at least 20 million square feet in the planning stage. Take a look at Rockingham Farms on Veterans Parkway and up the I-16 corridor, especially around the Bryan County megasite. We have a lot happening in our area. And hospitality, multifamily, and office development, I did say office development, will be ongoing in 2022 within Eastern Wharf. Some great plans there. And if you've been to the Thompson, to the roof deck, you can see how that whole area is really going to complement Savannah. We have residential growth that's going to be happening on Hutchinson Island. So, folks, the commercial market, industrial market is phenomenal. Savannah right now is in a phenomenal growth stage, and I'm proud to be here, and stay tuned.
Thank you, Rhett. Another wonderful, wonderful presentation here. I was just putting your soundbite up on the chat area so people can also follow along. Yeah, very, very positive.
I'm positive.
I want to pull this up here. Hold on a second. Whoops, that's the wrong one. Here we go. It was 20 million square feet under construction, 1.3% vacancy. So that means prices are going to continue to be high.
Well, that's on the industrial sector. Okay, so the vacancy, that means that you're going to see more warehouse construction to accommodate what's happening at our Georgia ports. The Georgia ports is phenomenal, and their business is increasing over an unbelievable range.
Yeah, so the ports is setting records every month right now, and they had always planned on having 20% buffer in growth, and they ate all of that this year. They grew almost 20%, but with the addition of the new gates on Grange Road, with the Jimmy DeLoach expansion project, there and also the mega site, the mega rail, is really changing the game. So the ports is a huge economic driver, and everyone around it is going to benefit from that. So thanks, Rhett. So after this 20 million, when will the market reach saturation, do you believe?
That's a hard thing to tell, because the port is growing, and this mega rail is, it's the fastest growing port in the country. So that is a tough question to answer. And plus, we're seeing development for the additional warehouse demand along the I-16 corridor up toward Atlanta. So we've got a lot of counties that are very cooperative in doing first-class industrial parks. As I said, the land grab has been on in the Savannah area, and the demand is reaching into the other regions.
Great.
So Rhett, can you see the question here? Whoops. What are the demographics of the companies, investors driving most of the real estate growth? What are the demographic themes?
The Georgia port is really driving the demand for multifamily right now, because that's where the employment base is. Okay, so we're seeing that as being the port as being a strong component of the growth there. With downtown, with multifamily downtown, we're seeing that as an entirely different market. Okay, so we're seeing that the rental rates for downtown for multifamily are extremely high in another sector. For our retail, we're basically seeing a lot of small shopping centers, the small shop space with occupancies that are filling up too. So we've got a strong and steady growth demographic base that is, I won't say it's very inclusive.
Is there anything we need to be watching out for?
I'm sorry.
Is there anything we need to be watching out for small businesses?
Well, I think, yes, for the small businesses, I think really watch out for take a look at where these communities are springing up on the west side and further out, because they're going to create a whole new base of services. I mean, the communities that are headed toward Highway 21, in Pooler with the Quaco Road development that's out there, New Hampstead, and then up toward the megasite in Bryan County. The communities are going to need to be more self-contained, because access around Savannah has been the same over the past years, or since I've been here in the 70s. But now access coming into Savannah from neighboring counties in the morning, going home in the afternoon. People would like to be able to have services a lot closer to these communities. And so I would say, stay tuned, especially to the mega site in Bryan County, because that's around a 3,000 acre development, and you have many acres of industrial, and it's going to be planned multifamily around the mega site. So we have the adjoining communities are going to be really something to keep an eye on.
Really good insight there. And for 9 years, I certainly appreciate you sharing your wisdom and insight to the small business community.
Appreciate yours too.
It matters.
We're also going to see growth, I think, up in the northern end of Effingham County with the developments up on Old River Road and things of that nature. So, and if you look, Dean Forest Road is a great example. It actually laid fallow for a number of years, and now with the purchase of the Days Inn and that going to become warehousing, and then even that pilot truck center, one of the first truck centers that they've built off the interstate. I drove by that today, and there were about 40 tractor trailers in the back. It's amazing the growth that is coming in this area. So thanks so much, Rhett.
Thank you.
We certainly appreciate it. And Joe, you're up next.
Yeah, hey, I'd like to take this time to introduce Victoria Saxton, and she is the CFO of the Small Business Assistance Corporation. Miss Victoria?
Hey, Victoria.
Hi, how are you guys? Thank you so much for this opportunity, and have some great news about small business lending as far as our organization. Just a quick background of who we are for those that may not know. We are a nonprofit small business lender, and we are mission driven. So we have a mission driven focus, which is to help the underserved communities that are not able to get credit, business lending opportunities elsewhere at your traditional banks. Our mission has allowed us to be certified through the U.S. Department of Treasury. So we are considered a CDFI, which is the Certified Development Financial Institution, which is going to be very important as I share some of the stats that we were able to acquire for 2021. As we know, the majority of businesses sought out emergency funding to help weather through the pandemic. These loans were a lot more attractive, a lot more with their financing options. They were attractive with being forgivable loans. You have low interest rate loans. You have some that were reduced or had waived fees, and also loans that provided initial payment reliefs if you were a new borrower or if you were an existing borrower for some programs. The PPP loan, of course, the Paycheck Protection Program loan, was the most commonly sought after emergency financing. Thanks to changes made through SBA, a lot of businesses didn't get the opportunity to partake in it in 2020, but 2021, a lot of the requirements and the opportunities had opened up, and I think a lot of businesses had more understanding of what it was and went to pursue it. SBAC actually funded 188 PPP loans in Chatham County, and that was 91% of our financing for the year. That also was 4 times more than what we lent to the community in 2020, and that amount to over $2.7 million. Because of the attraction to the emergency financing, of course, the non-emergency lending did decrease, so that only accounted for about 9% of our lending. So overall for Chatham County, we provided 206 loans at over $7.3 million. Some of the highlights of that, 63% of our loans went to minority-owned businesses. Of that, 56% were Black-owned, and 46% went to women-owned businesses. We were able to retain 554 loans and help to create 91 new loans. SBAC, again, as I mentioned, as a CDFI, we got a lot of support to provide capital to small businesses through the CDFI fund, and also the Federal Bank, the Federal Reserve Bank. Open opportunities for us to be able to pull capital down so that we can offer those lending options to our small business owners. And it's been shared through several other presenters prior to about the number of new businesses that are starting up and the lack of employees at maybe some other businesses. And the reason that we are seeing that we believe that we feel a lot of business owners are becoming self-employed. They're enjoying the flexibility of being at home and opportunities to, make financial increase for their home, as mentioned earlier as well, is to be the way to go now. And the good thing is, again, it's helping our environment, our economy, and we're getting a lot more minority businesses to come to fruition. One thing that we do want to warn as far as accessing capital, because these businesses are new, traditionally banks are able to fund these loans. And so again, we are an alternate lender, a CDFI, but there are also online lenders that are non-banks, and their attraction can be very persuasive. We do want to kind of warn small businesses to make sure that they understand what they're getting into. We have found a lot of the approval rates for those online lenders, such as On Deck and Cabbage, are, your approval rates are pretty high, but the satisfaction rate due to the undisclosed rates and fees associated with those loans have put a lot of businesses in a bind, and it's hard to get out of those loans or even to refinance them. So if you're starting off your new business, please look to more trusted sources of capital and to be on alert. Again, as a CDFI, there are proposals that's going on right now. We understand the Build Back Better Act has been passed by the House, and they have a proposal for about $5 billion to support small businesses. And also with the state of Georgia, they reinitiated the state small business credit initiative for under the American Rescue Plan Act. And for this, access to capital will provide, they're giving opportunities for the state of Georgia, which we will be included in the application that will be submitted for next year. So 2022, we're not sure of the amount, but we are hoping to look in the millions to provide access to capital for micro businesses, which will be 10 employees or fewer by their definition, and also to businesses that are controlled or owned by socially and economically disadvantaged individuals. And the great thing with that is that program does require private financing participation. So we are going to need the help of banks to help get the funds out and to support these small businesses as we go on to 2022.
Very good. Very good. Thank you so much, Victoria.
Thank you.
For good news.
So I think it's interesting, that what we need is a network of trusted advisors. So, go to SCORE and talk about what the truth is behind some of these funding opportunities. Just be aware, once you sign your name on that paper, it's really hard to take it back. So, and if you build that network with the help of SCORE and with the help of the SBDC and, with the Small Business Assistance Corporation, you will reap the benefits. So thank you very much, Victoria. We're very excited that you are helping people to get access to capital. And now it's back to you, Marjorie.
Very good. Okay. Thank you, Victoria. Next up, we have Michael Owens. He is the CEO of the Tourism Leadership Council. There we go. Good morning. Hey, Michael.
Good afternoon, everyone.
I can't believe this time last year we were thinking, we'll have it in person this time next year. I mean, we were right in the middle of the pandemic, and here we are again.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to be with everyone, even if it's just a virtual space for hopefully just a little bit longer, not too much longer. I think everybody's ready to be back together again. We are, our focus as an industry, and it has been really for the last 18 months, is recovery. Initial projections on when the industry would recover was 2024, and I'm extremely pleased to report that we are recovering at a much faster pace than initially projected. And let's talk about some of those numbers. And the numbers I'm going to give you today really compare to 2019, not 2020. 2020's numbers were obviously devastated. We saw basically across the board in all of our sectors and subsectors about a 50% loss in revenue. So of course our numbers are going to look great year over year, but let's go back to our best year, and that was 2019. And what we're seeing is that we are only off in revenue 0.2% compared to 2019. And to put that in a sort of context here is Atlanta is still down 23% off of their year. Nashville is down 22%, and our beautiful sister city, Charleston, is actually still down 3%. So we're down 0.2%. And that's terrific for revenues. It's particularly important to making sure that our tax coffers are where we're supposed to be. We're certainly the largest tax producers in the community, not only in hotel motel tax, but also sales tax and property tax and so on and so forth. But I'll tell you, even though revenues are, any business, and especially small business, will tell you revenues are not the whole story, right? It's the net, and nets are still down rather significantly. Certainly, we've seen massive increase in costs of goods and certainly labor. As a matter of fact, a report was put out just last month that the wages in the tourism and hospitality sector have surged 211% over the increase that we're seeing in the national average. So by far the fastest climbing in our history wage sector is in tourism and hospitality and food services. So the other side of that net sort of figure of real profitability to small businesses throughout who are so heavily reliant on the tourism industry's success, occupancy is still down rather substantially from 2019. So rates are up as a result of increased costs, but occupancy is actually down in Savannah 7.2% from our peak in 2019. In real numbers, what that means is that when we close this year at that rate, we'll have 943,000 fewer customers. So that's almost 1 million fewer customers coming to Savannah in 2021 versus what we had in 2019. So I know some folks look around the community, especially on the weekends, and say, oh, we're back. This is the most visitors we've ever had. Nope, we're actually 1 million short on what our peak was in 2019. And of course, those 1 million people, and that's just overnight guests, not including day trippers, those 1 million people, right, they go to our small businesses. They're going to our retail sector. They're relying on our transportation sector, certainly our cultural and our arts sector. So it really does mean overall fewer customers right now in the market coming from the tourism industry. We expect that will still be down a little bit in 2022, but in 2023, we should see, hopefully, full recovery. Our concerns for the future are the same concerns that anybody dealing with their home economy has, and that's rising costs, whether it's fuel or cost of food, energy costs. Those directly impact our industry. Fuel has increased, fuel costs have increased 58.63% year over year. That really does have an immediate effect on travel. When gas becomes too expensive, people will pull back their travel or travel much, much closer to home. Of course, the other inflationary measures do absolutely impact our business. But the long story short is we are faring far better than we had anticipated in 2020 and 2021. We're doing better than we expected. We continue that growth to continue barring any emergency. Obviously, we're all, like everyone, is looking at the Omicron variant and the variants that will likely come afterwards and what impact that will have on us. We're still short labor, just like everybody else, but we're managing that better than we were just a few months ago. And we think that we're going to be back on our feet fully in 2023, if not by the end of 2022. That's great news for everybody.
That is great news. I mean, the fact that we're ahead of Charleston and ahead of Atlanta, how do you pinpoint that? What do you think are the biggest factors with that?
So there's a couple of things. First of all, historically we've done better than Atlanta through in occupancy and both rate. We're as far as per capita, we're the strongest market in the state and one of the strongest markets in the Southeast. It is a mature market here, and of course, the thing to note is everybody thinks it's big business. Now, more than 90% of our businesses are small businesses here, and not that federal definition, but our definition of under 50 employees. That's the vast majority. We've got got maybe half a dozen hotels that have more than 100 employees altogether. So even these smaller hotels like the Marshall House, these are small businesses as well, and they're all locally owned. There's no corporate owned asset. There's no corporate owned hotel in Savannah. These are local companies or state companies or regional companies. The reason we're doing better than Charleston is in recovery is actually this state opened up before South Carolina did. We were the first state in the union to open up. That created a lot of pent up demand going right to Georgia. We enjoyed that. And we also, thanks to the work of Joe Marinelli at Visit Savannah, which is our marketing arm in this industry, Joe is one of the best in the business nationwide. And he proved that mettle here through the COVID pandemic. First of all, he had a healthy emergency fund and reserve. So when other people stopped spending, we slowed it down, but we were still in the market and we were still marketing this product as soon as we were returning guests back here and welcoming folks back into Savannah. And we looked at the feeder markets for our competitors. So our biggest feeder market is Atlanta. Not surprisingly, Charleston's biggest feeder market is their capital, Columbia. We started marketing directly into Columbia, and we started taking market share from our competitors, which is exactly why we've recovered faster. We met together as an industry and leadership within the industry, and we realized that in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. We took that very, very seriously, and we took our resources and put them to bear to grab as much market share as we could. And one of the great things about Savannah is when we take a little market share, we keep it. When you come to Savannah, you're going to come back.
That's great. That's great. We know it's such a challenge because you just can't create any more hotel nights. So
that's right.
365 days a year, and a night that is lost is a night that has been lost. So,
Joe, if I have 1 minute, that's a great point that I wanted to tack onto is something that is often forgot in the difference between the economic sectors. You know, a furniture store operating on Main Street, if they don't sell that sofa today, they can sell that sofa tomorrow. Well, in the hotel business and the restaurant, food service, and bar business, an empty bed tonight or an empty seat at a restaurant, we can't go back in time and resell that. That's permanent lost revenue.
Right. So, you know, and it is interesting. There has, you know, the deck has been reshuffled. And when people were talking about a $15 per hour universal wage a few years ago, everyone went, oh, no. But now the market is dictating that in order to get the employees that you want and keep them, the prices are rising. So,
you know, that's exactly right. Yeah, we've seen that wage increase, and certainly in our entry level positions, whether that's bellman or housekeeper and dishwashing and stewards. Those are our entry level, no experience required positions that people come in and start their careers in tourism and hospitality. We're seeing that wage is over $15 an hour. And, you know, frankly, that's great. Those are market forces, but it will always create a more expensive product. And that's what we're seeing. Our occupancy is down, but the product is more expensive by quite a bit. And that's why we're so close to recovering the gross revenues of 2019.
We've got a question here. Will there be a 2022 initiative to boost demand or supply staffing to recover occupancy rates more quickly?
Yeah, so it's a great question, but a little bit of a false binary there. So the shortage in staff is not what's holding back occupancy. So one problem doesn't solve the other. You know, we're continuing to focus on technical education and trade schools, and because we think that's a absolutely valid opportunity for anybody to pursue an extremely successful career. I think what we're seeing more of now is particularly as wages are rising so much faster here than some of the areas around us, is we're seeing folks migrate. For instance, Bullock County, we're seeing folks leaving the hospitality space in Bullock County and joining our hospitality space here. There's a lot more opportunity that exists in Savannah that there is in some of those surrounding counties. So we think within the next year we'll continue to recover there, and we're going to see a more regional approach to recruitment as opposed to just a local approach.
So, Michael, this is such a huge industry in Savannah. What would you tell the small business owners in this industry about 2022? What advice would you give them right now?
So get aggressive. That's the most important message I think I always have. So 14 million visitors come here, and everybody thinks, well, my God, that's so big. I can just put a shingle on the wall and business will fly towards me. Boy, that's not true. And it's never been true. Business is never so good that you don't have to work to go get your customers. The options that you have for advertising and marketing are better than they've ever been. Digital marketing has brought in this incredible wave of less, more cost effective with less outflow to really get your message across. But this town, like so many other towns, is relationships, relationships, relationships. I can tell you that the frontline staff of any hotel, bed and breakfast, and inn is the biggest force in making decisions on where those customers are going to go, whether that's a restaurant or retail establishment. Our guests come down, even in the age of the internet, they come down and say, hey, where should we go have lunch today? My wife is looking for this. It's word of mouth and relationships. So I tell people, don't forget the folks on the front line, and that certainly includes valets and bellmen. You know, if you've got a restaurant, you're crazy if you're not taking cookies to a front desk every week. You're crazy if you're not taking some cupcakes to some valets at hotels and bed and breakfast around the area. Build those relationships. It will take time, but I'll tell you, everything in life that is great and successful takes time and takes work. Never forget that you've got to work outside of your business almost as much as you have to work inside of your business.
Great.
Yeah, we really do have to have a great shout out to Joe Marinelli and the people over at Savannah and the Savannah Chamber. They really have done a great job in keeping Savannah at the forefront of people's minds.
They've done an exceptional job.
Yes, we're in the lead. So, of course, Savannah, you know, it's so interesting when you travel around the world and you tell somebody you're from Savannah. It's not like, oh, that's nice. This is their reaction. Savannah?
That's right.
I mean, they say it with this glee. Savannah? It's true. It's true. When they find out, you don't get that from Detroit. You don't get that from, you know, a lot of other places. Anyhow,
that's exactly right.
We're really grateful that we've got your leadership with this area. So thank you, Michael. And
thanks for having me on today.
Absolutely. And hopefully next year we'll be able to do it in person. Who knows?
It'll be great.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael. Okay.
So, hey, you know, that was phenomenal. 13.6, almost 14 million unique visitors a year in Savannah. It's just phenomenal. And, you know, the reason is because of the people of the city. It doesn't matter how beautiful it is. If the people are not worth coming back to, they won't come back. And I've always found this just to be the most welcoming city in the country. So our next presenter is going to be Scott Scheit, and he is a retired lieutenant colonel. He spent 27 years in the military protecting us and did 3 combat tours in Iraq. And sir, we can't thank you enough. Today he serves as the Chief Security Officer for Sumitsu, and he's going to talk about fiber and cyber security.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Marjorie, and everybody. And it's humbling to go after everybody else that just came through, especially those last 3 presenters, starting with Rhett. Everything was all exciting and happy news. I'm afraid I might have some nuggets of statistics that's not as good as all of theirs. But interestingly enough, based on what Marjorie said, I was in Dollywood last week with the family over Thanksgiving. Met someone there, and he was like, "So where are you from?" And I said, "Savannah, Georgia." He did exactly what Marjorie said.
Savannah.
He's working in Dollywood, right? And he's like, "Savannah, that place is awesome." I said, "Yes, it is." I said, "Bring Dollywood down there. We never have to leave." So that was exciting, and it's exciting to be part of this group. And thank you, Marjorie, and everybody from the team for letting me be here, and speaking through Sumitsu's point of view in relation to IT. We could talk about fiber and cybersecurity as 2 main IT areas. The last 12 months, Sumitsu as a company, as kind of our benchmark point, we've increased our level of bandwidth availability, like to what we would call a 10x number. So we've had that type of increase in small businesses. That's primarily our internet services for the small business community that's off our lines around the greater Savannah area and our outreach locations. And so for us to be able to increase, to need to be able to provide 10 times the bandwidth as we were 12 months ago, shows you a use of that bandwidth from a technology standpoint for the small businesses in our Chatham County area to increase their remote worker footprint, their access to digital resources, as well as to provide those for their customers. And a big thing that we've seen from the small business in the area that we've been supporting has been the increase of those small businesses in technology upgrades and the use of new modes of technology, from webcams to presentations such as we do here on the different types of streaming devices. A lot of identification of methods to reach the market and reach their employees and allow that to happen through those technological advancements. That has also showed us our largest growth area was healthcare over the last 12 months. The healthcare use of bandwidth, use of IT resources, technological resources, from the perspective of telemedicine, remote healthcare support for things that were happening in the healthcare industry. So we've seen that not just at the hospital level, but even the specialty care clinics around the area. We've seen them go to a upgrade in technology for their small business usage. We've seen an increase, even talking with our partners, our other IT partners in the area, for voice over internet protocol being used for phone systems. Again, that operates on a bandwidth backbone, on a fiber backbone. Sumitsu is currently the last independent internet service provider in the area. Hargrave has been bought out, and some of the other ones that are in the area are more of a medium to larger conglomerate now. And so we still have a good base of our 30+ year clients operating off of our fiber. And so we have associate partnerships with other small businesses in the Savannah area that provide other phone service and different other types of technological resources. So we have those conversations on a regular basis of we might actually be providing the fiber to a small business, but we know also the company that's providing the phone service, the VoIP service, and that's somebody that we know by name, and we talk to all these other industry partners on an ongoing basis. But that level of growth of technology, even in our area, then kicks over into my security statistics of concern. And so, without hopefully scaring too many people, but while the numbers that I can talk to today, statistics wise, are not only for Chatham County, it's we don't have yet the mechanism that's tracking this level of cybersecurity statistics for Chatham County specifically. We're going to work on that. Maybe by our 10th anniversary next year, we'll have more of a Chatham County specific. But what we've identified in the research across small businesses, which are kind of that 50 employee range, as Michael and the others talked about earlier, there's a large concern that those types of businesses, which 43% of cyber attacks in the country are against small to medium businesses, and they can't afford what we might call a enterprise level security posture package from some of the bigger companies that provide those. So that opens up a lot of potential for concerns about compromised data. From our statistics, 66% of small businesses are concerned about compromising their customers' data. And while that's a 66% concern, 47% of small businesses say they have no understanding on how to protect themselves from a cyber attack. So as we look at the big areas industrial wise that we have, logistics, healthcare, tourism community, healthcare, for example, is the industry that's the most at risk for cyber attacks. It is just like a magnet for threat actors in that space. Biggest concern, one of the biggest concerns that I carry on this is that it's been identified statistically that 60% of small businesses that experience a cyber attack go out of business within 6 months. No matter how long they've been in business, whether 1 year, 10 years, 30 years, the inability to have a ready posture for a response to that is just something that becomes too much for them to bear. Cyber attacks caused by compromised employee passwords, for example, that cost can be $383,000 on average, just the cost of a cyber attack against a small business for just that. Some other numbers just to have in mind. The median small business receives 94% of its detected malware by email. So concerns that we have that we like to speak to the base that we have around us is, you cannot continue to afford to at least not have a conversation with another small business supported entity in the area about what is your cyber hygiene posture, what is your cybersecurity response capabilities, or do you at least have some degree of a cyber insurance plan in place or something to that effect. Let's see what some of these other numbers we have. Some of the things of concern in our area. We have a lot of support for our military base. We have a lot of small businesses that have some degree of a contracting affiliation as a government contractor of some sort. Could be just a small 1 to 5 person company, but they may have a logistics contract to move equipment or move supplies for Fort Stewart. Well, because of the larger attacks that we've seen around the country, the colonial, the beef industry, our own healthcare concerns that have happened in the last couple of years, the federal level agencies such as the Department of Labor and the Department of Agriculture have actually implemented expectations and requirements that flow all the way down the pipe that requires the fiduciary, whoever that might be, of any company to be responsible for also making sure that they have a cyber posture in place. And what is the cyber posture of every one of their vendors? Does anybody know that? Has anybody taken the time to do that? So it's an interesting concept that for that level to maintain a military contract, to continue to work as a small business owner with some of even the state contracts, there are cyber compliance policies that are coming down that is more than our small business owners have been able to take the time to monitor. So those are some of the big things of concern, and there's many more that we can talk about. So I'll just pause there for whatever questions might be of relevance.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that over half of the businesses go out of business.
60%.
Yeah, that's really scary. Well, Scott, thank you so much for that presentation. We're going to pull everybody back on because we only have about 2 minutes left. And if there's any more comments we got some static feedback. Otherwise, we're running out of time, unfortunately. So is everybody back on? What was the biggest takeaway that stood out with you all today?
Savannah is roaring back.
Yes. I think for me, and particularly, from the score perspective, listening to Scott, your presentation, and 43% of cyber attacks are against small business. I think it sounds to me like we have a huge opportunity to create a workshop for how to protect your small business. So we'll be in touch with you guys really soon to create.
We look forward to it. Those are the things that we want to help in the community with.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Well,
I think that's it.
Yep, we got 1 minute left. I want to thank everybody for watching our 9th annual State of Small Business. We hope that we get to do it again in person next year. Sherry with Wells Fargo, we couldn't have done this without you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we're really, really grateful for the sponsorship. This kind of information is crucial for the small business owners to hear what's happening locally on the streets from the leaders in each of the industries. To hear it right really makes a difference. So thank you very much for sponsoring it. And thank you everybody for watching. This tape will be available on Channel 8 and also on SCORE's Facebook page. So great insights, everybody. Thank you very much. It was great.
Thank you.
And we'll see y'all next time. See y'all next year. Y'all be safe out there.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.